Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. In this set of videos we'll be looking at chapter 5 of ISCA syllabus, and this is the last chapter for which I had to upload the videos. This chapter might take about 5 videos to cover. The first video we'll look at topic number 5.2 and 5.3, and topic 5.4 will be covered in the next video, and topic 5.5 it is the biggest part of this chapter. You can see that it has around 40 pages to discuss, so it's very big and it will take about 2 videos. And 5.6, 5.7 and 5.8 are very small and we can cover that up in the last video. So let's get started with this first video where we'll be discussing the topics 5.2 and 5.3. 5.1 is just introduction. You can just go through it once and skip it if you want to. 5.2 is on business process design. And the definition of business process design has 3 parts to it. It means the structuring or restructuring, that is the first part. Tasks, functionalities and activities, the second part. For the purpose of improvising a business system, third part. So these are the 3 parts in the definition of a business process design. And for business process design, we have 3 subtopics to look at. The first one is the present process documentation, and then proposed process documentation, finally the implementation of a new process. In the present process documentation, we look at what are the things or activities that is being done in the present process. We document it, and in case we find out any loopholes or flaws in the present system, we look at that and make note of that as well. And the next one is the proposed process documentation. That is, once we identify the flaws in the current system, we propose a newer system to correct the flaws of the existing system. And that is what is being talked about in this paragraph, this thing here. And once we are okay with the design of the proposed process, we finally implement the new process and also test it before we roll it out completely. And the example that they have given for that is the case of a manual billing system, which is the existing process where the clerk has to manually enter the amounts and the item code. And the proposed system would be that of an automated billing system where the system itself picks up the item code and also the necessary parameters when the barcode is read from the product. And finally we settle down with an integrated system, which is an automated system with a manual override. That is, in case the system doesn't pick up the values, we can manually type it down as well. The next topic would be 5.3, that is system development. In system development, we have 2 concepts. The first one is that of system analysis, and next one is system design. In system analysis, what we do is we try to look at the existing system and we try to improve the existing system if the flaws are not major and can be corrected. And system design is where we find out that improving the existing system would not be good enough and we need to come up with a new system altogether. So we end up designing a newer system. And in the system design stage, we have got about 3 to 4 topics to discuss. And the first one which we look at is the bottlenecks to achieve the system development activity. That is, what are the bottlenecks which we'll face at this stage of the system development. So there are 4 broad heads under which we look at it. The first one is user related, the next one is developer related, the third one is management related issues, and the fourth one is issues arising from new technology. So in user related, we have shifting user needs. That is, the system should be able to cope up with the present requirements as well as the upcoming or future requirements of the users of the system. In case the system cannot be scaled up, then it will create a bottleneck and it's an issue. The next one is that of resistance to change. That is, many users might not be comfortable migrating to a newer system and they prefer the existing one. So definitely there will be some resistance from their side to change over to a new system. The third one is lack of users' participation, which is in case the users themselves don't participate in the development process, obviously they will not have much interest towards the new system. They won't feel that it is their system and they won't have that belongingness and they won't take it up that well. The last one is inadequate testing and user training. That is, in case the system is not fully tested for all kinds of scenarios and just released as soon as it passes the pilot testing, then the issues might crop up later when the system is actually put to use. And if the training is inadequate for the users, they might find it difficult to use the new system. So these four things are the issues related to the user. Next we have two issues from the developer side. That is, lack of a standard project management methodology. That is, if they don't have a formal system through which they will be developing the new system, or they don't have a formalized method, then it might lead to issues because subjectiveness and bias might creep in and the development will take a hit. The next one is overworked and undertrained staff. And this is common in every kind of work environment. In case the staff is overworked or not trained enough, definitely they will not be interested in putting the work that is necessary to get the system going. So those two are developer related. The third part is that of management related issues. That is, when lack of senior management support and involvement. If the senior management in the organization does not get involved in the development of a system, of course they will not be getting enough budgetary support for developing the system, and neither will the rest of the employees take any interest in that, because they look up to their leaders, and if their leaders are not interested, obviously employees also won't get enough interest towards this new system. And the next one is that of development of strategic systems. Strategic systems, as you know, are unstructured and they need to process large volumes of data and put out results quickly. So for such a system, it might be difficult to define the requirements, and if system requirements are not specific, it will be very difficult to develop a system for that. And the last hurdle or bottleneck is that of new technologies. New technologies bring with them new possibilities as well as new challenges. If the technology is still new and the users are not properly trained in that, then that non-familiarity with that technology could be a burden or a problem in the initial stages of its usage. So we are done with 5.3.1 and now we'll look at 5.3.2, which is the second topic to discuss under the systems development phase. And here we have got the topic of system development team. There are a total of 4 broad categories of people who are involved in the system development. The first one is the steering committee. Steering committee is like the top level of the IT systems team, and it comprises the IT systems head, and it comprises of several directors, technology head, etc., etc. And below them comes the project management team, who will be put in charge of developing the particular systems. So for a particular system development, project management team will be like the top. And below them, they have got system analysts who will analyze the existing systems and come up with new system designs. And finally, there is the end user who will finally end up using the systems that are developed. So even they are critical parts of the system development process. And now we have the third and the last topic in this phase of system development, that is topic 5.3, and that is the accountant's involvement in the development of system. There are 3 points here to discuss. The first one is return on investment. Under that we have cost and benefits. The next one is the computing the cost of IT implementation and the cost benefit analysis. which is again connected with point 1 itself. And finally the third point, which is skills expected from an accountant. So if you look at in the textbook, the first point here is the return on investment, which has two parts to it: the costs that are incurred and the benefits that are going to be taken from that system. In cost, we have got development cost, operating cost, and intangible cost. Development cost is the cost that we incur for the development of the system. It could be mostly in the nature of fixed costs itself, and these costs would be capitalized. Then we have operating costs, which is incurred on a day-to-day basis for usage and maintenance of that system. And finally we have got the intangible costs, which is it could be due to the disruption of the activities in an organization when the new system is being implemented, or the loss of employee productivity in the transition phase between the old and new system. So this is also a cost which needs to be factored in. And the benefits depends upon it depends upon what was the objective of implementing the system, and those objectives itself would turn out to be the benefits of implementing the system. The next one, as we saw earlier, is the computation of the cost of IT implementation and the cost benefit analysis. This is the comparison between the costs that we just saw now and benefits. So we compare the cost versus benefit. In case the benefit is higher, we choose to go ahead with the system, else we'll have to drop the plan. The third one is skills expected from an accountant. So the major skill that we expect from an accountant from the organization standpoint is that the accountant knows the business of the organization. He knows about how to account for that particular organization, that is, what are the standards applicable and how accounts should be maintained for that organization. And based on these two factors, he should be contributing to the development of the IT systems. So that is what is expected from an accountant. And with that, we have come to an end of these two topics, that is 5.2 and 5.3 have been covered now. 5.4 will be covering it in the next video. Thank you for watching. Hope you also watch the remaining videos of this chapter as well.